is they.
What's happening?
It's not me.
My phone.
Is that you? Who's that?
The stupid group chat.
Your group chat?
Yes, let me mute them. What happened?
Someone FaceTiming the group chat?
Someone called the group chat. And It was probably an accident.
Oh,
But we're all
funny.
like that.
I was like,
That
that's
can't
not
be
me.
We're like, it's
me.
not an Amber Alert. Those sound different.
And welcome to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Yeah.
I hope everyone is surviving their Christmas
rush.
orders. I hope by now you've either cut them off or you're cutting them off soon,
Right.
so that you can enjoy the holidays with your
Yep.
family and friends and so
Yeah.
you just don't go crazy.
Right.
I hope you're hanging in there.
Yeah.
I hope we are too.
So this episode is brought to you by
Katie with Monarch Pine. Use code Riley Black to enjoy 10% off of her Etsy page, monarchpine.etsy.com.
Nice.
I'm getting better.
Yes,
at it.
you are.
Thank for the assist. I think that helps me because I don't have to
remember
start
to
from
say,
scratch.
yeah, for
Just
sure.
he eases it on in there for me.
And as promised, we have our Patreon members.
Yes, we have our shout outs.
And thank you guys for joining Patreon. And if you haven't yet, now is a great opportunity to sign up.
Give it make it our Christmas present.
That's right. Sign up for the year.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to worry about it.
Then you
again.
get a discount.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it again. Send us money.
I did send out some good files this last time. So Victor was bragging about the files that he got, and it actually got us a new patron, and her name is Trisha. So thank you for signing up, Trisha.
Yes, thank you.
I hope that you enjoy the files. I hope that everyone who is a $12 and up member enjoys those, because I try to give you guys the good stuff. Like I'll give a full bundle, or one of my best sellers, or if I finally come out with a new file, I'll send out the new file. So you guys get first dibs on the new file, and it's free. Like obviously you pay for your subscription, but it's a
and remember we work
bonus.
to get you a higher discount.
Yes,
from our
I
guests.
ask every single guest, and I understand not everybody is able to, or not everybody sells to other laser owners, or sells something that makes sense. But I always ask for two, and so I always make sure that whatever max they're willing to give, we give it to you guys.
And also remember, we haven't done a giveaway in a long time.
We haven't.
But as a Patreon member, when and if we do a giveaway, you're automatically entered into that giveaway. So you don't have to, you don't have
to technically, you don't have to participate really at all. Just you existing as a patron.
You paying gets you in.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and do the mentions real quick. I obviously mentioned one already with Trisha. Let's get to the rest. We have Heather Lynn with Lobo Designs, fucking finally. Liz with the Laser Outpost. We gotta keep that in there. Let me try that again though. Liz, I love you. Sorry for the blunder. With the Laser Outpost Facebook group.
Isn't that what you said?
I said outpost.
Outpost
or something.
Okay.
Who knows?
I heard outpost because I know.
Okay, good. You filled in the blanks for me.
In my head,
join her group if you haven't already. Yes. Part of the reason she joined was because she wanted some extra mentions, and I was like, I got an idea.
I know a way for you to get some extra mentions.
Right. Super fan Brandy Mahoney, Victor with Excited Adam, Katie with Monarch Pine, because she's the best, Melissa Hitchcock, Camille Epstein, Lisa, David. I didn't write it in here.
And Silos, I'm gonna give you a shout out too, because Lisa and Silos are
their package deal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, kind of like us.
He gets a shout out too.
Right. David with Creative Cuts Supplies. I don't know why it's not on here. Alex with Laser Everything. Stephanie Long, Barbie Cherison, Madison. Why am I doing last names? This is not.
I don't know.
Danny, Emily with TM Wall, Amanda with Cerulean Tides, Mark with Big Blue Laser Designs. Which, by the way, there's going to be some news coming out soon. They hope before Christmas.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Kathy Ray, Ryan with Sprouts Creations.
Finally,
you're
finally
welcome.
There, Ryan. It's
finally there.
You don't have to travel. Just come to us.
And Will, the OG.
Yep.
With Crazy Laser Dad. So.
Also has some exciting news.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
yeah. Same news as Mark.
Same news as Mark. Right. So, as promised, part 2.
It's here.
Of our conversation with Katie.
Yes.
Super informative.
Yes.
Definitely something. There's something for everyone to take away with this conversation.
You know, which I'm not gonna ruin anything from it, but with what I love about Katie is that, you know, sometimes meeting with your accountant, it can be like, I gotta go over numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta figure out taxes. She takes as much as possible. She takes out the of taxes and financing and accounting.
For sure.
I don't dread an email from her. I don't dread, you know what I mean? Like, and even if I do kind of like dread the numbers, which I did this time, I was a little worried because the summer was slower than I wanted it to be.
It's been a rough year.
You know, she just, I feel like even if the numbers were really bad, she is so good at like, okay, this is now our opportunity to make them better.
Put
you know what I mean?
Spin on it.
Yeah. And just, okay, well, now we know what we need to fix, or, you know, it's just never a negative thing talking about finances and all that stuff with her. And that's what is my favorite thing, I think, because every time I talk to her, I feel motivated for the next year, the numbers, like she wants us to succeed like as much as we do. Exactly. You know what I mean?
If not more.
Right. Yeah. So I love that about,
and has ideas to help that maybe we may not
think about, right?
Because she's looking at it from you know, numbers.
She talked about a couple of those that I hadn't even, you know, ways to reduce your tax liability, which means you're paying less in taxes and you're keeping it, you know, hopefully within either the business or your family or whatever, and just talking about all those things. So I hope that you guys love this one, part 1 and part 2 as much as we did, and as much as you loved it the first time. That's why we brought her back, because you guys loved it so much. So, and
we have a great idea for a third one.
Yes. Well, we already
technically 4th because this is a 2-parter, but you guys
but we've already talked about when we can meet again. So enjoy.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, the sun killed us,
man,
with these windows
in
the studio. It was a problem. Well, we know that the sun shines in, but we never record a podcast at that time.
No, and you know, we needed to record a little bit later because her travel. Well, and because her traveling out here, you know, she had to work a little bit this morning, and then I was like, oh, let's go over our numbers first so that we can talk about that on the episode, not thinking, oh, the sun is going to obliterate us halfway through, so, or whenever. But
so if you're listening to it, it doesn't affect you. If you're watching it, put on some shades.
It's gonna be a little bright.
It's a little bright,
but that just means
towards the end
that the future is bright ahead, right?
What a positive spin on that one. See that?
You're welcome.
Well, enjoy the show. Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte. Anything matte. And I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
So something we talked about before the podcast was how I realized that I can't not buy acrylic. And so what I actually need, and I don't do well with the as soon as I feel like I'm deprived of something or I can't have something, I really need and want to have it. It's what it feels like.
That's how I got
like,
a Ninja Creamy for Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I want one of those too.
It's great.
So don't
It's
put
great.
don't put it on your stories because I'm just gonna I'm gonna have to add that into the budget somewhere of getting us a Ninja Creamy. But anyway,
Not
it's
even
just I've told you about it before.
Okay.
Yeah. But realizing, okay, so I don't want to not buy zero,
Right.
but I want to give myself an allowance to, okay, you have $100 a month or whatever to buy whatever. If some new acrylic comes out, figure out, okay, I'm going to buy $100 worth. And now I got it out of my system. I got something
And it's
new. I don't
budgeted
have the
for.
FOMO. I know that I can spend that. I'm spending within what I've already told myself I can spend. And then it's not the not buy anything, finally break loose and spend $600.
Right. And then
So,
you'll know you only have 30 days between your next period where you can buy the next thing. So you don't
I spent it
feel
all, but now I just
Exactly.
need to wait a couple
you're like,
weeks
all
and I can
right,
buy some
so
more.
next month I didn't buy that pretty cerulean acrylic that I wanted, but
Right.
I'm going to put it in my shopping cart and next month I can get it. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's capitalizing
Right.
on our behavior because we're all humans at the end of the day.
And making it work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's leveraging those habits. And, a lot of people will shy away from them and shame themselves for
Right.
those habits
Totally. Yeah.
instead of saying, no, it's fine that I'm like this. It's no problem.
Right. It's okay that I'm an acrylic hoarder and buyer. I just need to
we just need to
hone it in
leverage
a little
it.
bit. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what this methodology really helps us do. So that brings us into the next functional area, which is your owner's compensation. So I just called the taxes a non-negotiable for your business. I call owner's compensation a non-negotiable for you. So as a business owner, this is the number one thing I really want to start highlighting with my clients because it's the most probably prevalent problem I see is people underpaying themselves or even not paying themselves a lot. And I think this will resonate with a lot of people in your audience because you do have a lot of those small business owners who have no idea if what they're taking from their business is actually enough for them. And they still feel like they're struggling.
Right.
They may be hitting their revenue goals. Their profit margins may be great, but still at the end of the day, they're feeling something lacking in their personal life. I'm not getting enough from my business. So the things that I would have business owners consider in this area would be, is the cash that you're taking from your business sustaining the lifestyle that you have? Is it paying for your mortgage or your rent? Is it paying for the food that you're putting in your refrigerator and on your table? Is it paying for you to go out and have a good time? Because we all like to do that.
Right.
Just like you're budgeting for yourself to be able to buy acrylic each month, I think everybody needs to budget fun for themselves each month. Because if you're not, that gets bad really quick and it puts you in a really bad attitude really about your business. You get resentful of your own business because you're like, I'm putting all of this into this business and it's giving me nothing back. So that is
because you're not putting into you as well.
That is the number one reason I hear from my clients who have had businesses that they've eventually closed is that I just wasn't taking enough home. And these could be businesses that have very pretty profit and losses.
Right.
But they weren't managing their cash flow in an effective way to support them as the business owner. So is your compensation aligning with your personal savings, spending, and lifestyle goals? That's very important. What I'd recommend is to set clear income targets. So how you would do this is, and we've talked briefly about this before, is write down on regular piece of paper, very easy exercise to do. Write down your monthly expenses, how much you're paying
done
to
that.
be in your home,
Right.
how
Yeah.
much you need to feed yourself and your family, how much you need to have fun. And then those I feel like are just your basic living expenses. We need to now take a step further and say, what about saving? Is what I'm being paid enough for me to save on a personal level to feel comfortable? Because your business not only needs a reserves, your personal life also needs a reserves. We kind of need to apply the same flow of cash flow in our business as we do in our personal life as well.
For sure.
So is your compensation from your business supporting that? Are you contributing to your retirement? Are you contributing to charitable causes that you would like to? Are you even your time is valuable to you? Do you have the time to participate in volunteer as you like? So that's also supported by your income targets. And then another thing that I feel like is a big struggle for business owners in the owner compensation area is understanding how best to pay yourself based on your entity type, because it's different whether you're an LLC or an S Corp. So a big thing I hear from single member LLCs and partnerships when they're taking money is they'll present, and this will be for people who I'm not doing the accounting for.
Yeah.
They'll give me their financials and I'll see an amount that says salary or payroll on a single member LLC or a partnership that's not S Corp elected. And that's a huge red flag to me because you don't take payroll as an LLC.
Right.
You just can't, as the owner of a single member LLC or a partnership that's not S Corp elected. You cannot take an owner salary. It's just not. It's not in the business model of it. It's not in the business entity structure of it.
Okay.
And how you take compensation as that is your distributions. So that is what your net profit is at the end of each month, end of each quarter, end of each year. What goes on your tax return as your net profit, that's essentially your compensation as the business owner of an LLC. And what you're subject to on that is 15.3% in sales tax, or not sales tax. I'm so sorry. Self-employment tax, 15.3. Put like some sort of like noise or some effect over that like incorrect. No. So self-employment tax. So and that is it works out for you on the tax return because you can deduct half of it. So there are, you have to make sure you're understanding your entity structure properly to ensure you're paying yourself correctly and you're paying yourself as much as you should be from your distributions. You're not overpaying yourself. You're not taking money from the business it doesn't have or pulling from your past retained earnings. But when you're an S Corp owner, you can take an owner salary. So I mentioned before that if you're not taking an owner salary as an S Corp, you're out of compliance. So if you're listening to this and you're an S Corp owner and you are not taking a reasonable salary, that is a huge red flag to the IRS, especially if you're making money. So if you're making over 20 to 30 grand in net profit each year, you should be S Corp elected and you should be taking a salary because that's when the tax savings of doing that outweighs the tax savings of you taking that 15.3%.
Okay.
So there's still the when you're an S Corp owner, there's still the 15.3% involved. But what happens is that gets split in half. So you will be responsible for 7.65% of it as the employee, which will be deducted from your pay in Social Security and Medicare. You'll see that on your pay stub. So that's half of that. But the other half will come from your business. So they will compensate for the rest of that 7.65%, and that's deductible to you along with your salary. So that is the best way for you to be compensating yourself as an S Corp is in payroll, because if you, and what will make people shy away from that is the payroll tax aspect of it. They'll go, I just want to take my money. I don't want to have to deal with taxes. But what they don't know is
What's happening?
It's not me.
My phone.
Is that you? Who's that?
The stupid group chat.
Your group chat?
Yes, let me mute them. What happened?
Someone's FaceTiming the group chat?
Someone called the group chat. And it was probably an accident. But we're
That's
all
funny.
like that
I was
ain't
like,
that
that's
can't
not
be
me.
We're like, it's
me.
not an Amber Alert. Those sound different.
And I was like, we still have half an hour on
Oh
our
my God.
alarm.
I was in an airport once when an Amber Alert went off.
Oh my
Holy
Lord! I bet the
crap.
whole airport
The
was going
whole
off.
airport was like, and like some people, huh?
We should have recorded this time.
I know. Well, we've
It's all
said that.
blown out.
We've said that before when we were
Yeah.
working. We'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the time we can't do a podcast,"
And here
and
we
then
are.
look at us. But whatever.
It's okay.
I didn't think about
learning
that.
learning
Right?
lessons. Learning lessons.
But yeah, in the airport, it was like, and some people, you had, I think, 2 phones at the time because of work and personal, and then like and it was pretty funny. It was like this whole thing. But yeah.
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon Laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Yeah,
Right,
back when I was saying, a lot of people will shy away from that because they don't want to pay the payroll taxes. They just say, "Oh, I want to just take my money, whatever." I'd rather take $500 out of my bank account and it be $500 instead of it being $498.50 because of my withholdings, and then having to pay that 7.65% in a tax expense after.
Right.
But what I tell people when they come to me, that is, you are paying tax on that money anyway.
Right.
Because that is going to be included in your net profit at the end of the year, and you are going to be subject to all those same taxes, and it is not deductible to you.
Right.
So I always tell people in the S Corp area to leverage payroll, take a market compensatory salary, pay yourself as close as you can as to what you would pay somebody to come in and do your job.
Right.
Because then you are accurately reporting your payroll costs, and you are not running the risk of overstating the profits of your business. Because if you are undercutting your own salary, if you're in a position where you want to sell your business one day, somebody's going to look at that and say,
"Mine, how much do you pay yourself?" And nothing.
Right. They're going to look at that
nothing.
and say, "Okay, so you don't have any salary, or you have a very low salary accounted for yourself. When I purchase your business, I'm going to
pay myself.
Right. I'm going to have to either hire somebody to do this job, and they're going to demand a market salary, so I'm going to be out.
Right.
Or I'm going to have to do it myself. And
Right.
people who are buying a business aren't always in that position. They want to just buy a business that's running itself.
Right.
So it's very important for S Corp owners to make sure they're in alignment on that, not only for compliance purposes, but also just for financial planning purposes.
Yeah.
Understanding because then you're really not understanding if your revenues are working. If you can't even pay yourself, then we're in a danger zone there. So getting clarity in that area is very important. Understanding what your income target is. Are you charging enough and working with enough people to meet that? And are you taking it in the best way for your entity to mitigate your taxes and to take advantage of any deductibility opportunities? So the actionable tip I can recommend for our audience here would be calculate your monthly living expenses. Ensure that your current owner's compensation not only covers these expenses, but also allows for savings, because we want to make sure our business allows us to do that as well. And if needed, adjusting your compensation to align more with this. So you don't have to jump to a market salary overnight, but at least start doing those incremental changes. Like we said to you, we're just going to start pushing a small percentage over there.
We just transferred $300 over and was like, here, there's something in there.
It's something, because you want to keep building that to get to a market compensatory salary. So you don't feel just like what we were talking about in the profit sense of you're putting so much into it, but you're not getting anything out of that. You don't want to resent your business. So the top thing that you can do to ensure you're not resenting your business is making sure it's paying you enough. So that's huge there.
What else we got?
All right, so it's the last one. Last one, and
when I lean in, my nose, I get like a
the last one here.
Or don't even try.
No, I'm going to. I have to.
So we have the operating expenses. So this is the support of your business. This is the everyday, operations of the business you're running, and making sure that the subscriptions, the wages, the utilities, your rent, all of that is so we have two kind of costs in business, right? We have your cost of goods sold, which is everything that goes into delivering your product and service, right? That's the materials you have to purchase. That's any contractors you have to hire to put together the product or the service. And that's your cost of goods sold. On the other side, we have our operating expenses, which are your expenses necessary to sustain your business that don't necessarily have to do with the creation of your product. So that's like your rent. You can be anywhere, really. You don't have to be in a specific place to bring your product to market, but is the rent that you're paying justifying the products or service that you're creating? Because I would never recommend, a small retail store who, budget retail store only has a few things in inventory at a time. I wouldn't recommend they be in this huge department store and paying this high rent. They should probably be in something smaller, maybe even be online. You don't need a rent at all. So making sure your operating expenses are innovated enough. That's
something actually one of my friends ran into lately. He is a car detailer, and he also wraps cars. He mostly wraps cars now. It's kind of like shifted. But he went and got a space, like a garage space to wrap the cars, because he just felt like, oh, this is the next move, not realizing how he started to resent his business because now, because of all of this overhead of the actual, the rents and the material for wrapping, and paying more people to help him, and the utilities and everything that went into it. Sure, it was great because people weren't coming to your garage in your home anymore, but like your garage in your home is already like paid for with your rent or your mortgage,
which probably went into how he was pricing before. So he can't keep the same prices that he had in his home garage when you're going to move into a space that you now need to pay for, because that is increasing your that's going to drop your profit margins down super quick if you do that.
He's making more money, but now he also has a lot more expenses as well.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. That's definitely true.
And so then he ended up, deciding to go back to the more mobile route of mobile detailing and wrapping your car in his garage and that kind of stuff, because it just makes more sense for where he wants to be. His kind of like our goals are not what I would call like necessarily the goals every business owner has of, oh, I want to make all of this money and I want to, sure, we want to make lots of money, but our first initial goal is make enough money to pay our bills and to spend more time with our kids and our family. Like but that's our first goal. Anything above that is a bonus.
Right.
And it's not like required. Like I don't need to make $100,000 a year to be happy. What makes me happy is not
John's
working. Right.
100,000 make me happy.
I mean, listen, it would make me really happy as well. But like then
She couldn't tell me about anything I buy anymore.
but then like if I have to make $100,000, but that means that I'm working until 6-7 o'clock every
It's
night,
not worth it to
and I
you.
only have 1 hour, like with my kids, and it's not even like the fun hour, like then it's not, it's
Or
not
the
worth
fun
it.
hour.
Sometimes there's hours that are more fun. Like, so the time before dinner,
Mhm.
that's usually the fun time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because dinner,
But
you're
like
fighting with
after
them
7
to eat.
p.m., it's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
downhill from there.
Exactly. You're fighting with them to eat dinner. You're fighting with them to
That's
get
when I go
ready
to
for
work.
bed.
That's when I work.
That's dad's time.
Right. And so then it's, like our goals for a business are different than others, where like, yeah, sure, we could work 12-hour days and walk away with like a bunch of money, but then at the same time, who's taking care of our kids during that
Right.
time? Like, are they constantly begging for more time? Because that was the struggle. That's why he went into self-employment.
Mhm.
And is it like glorious and amazing all the time? Absolutely not. Because like, he traded having the guaranteed money every other week, but he wasn't there. Like bedtimes were done on FaceTime, and he was there for dinner 2 nights a week, and that's it. He was there for lunch 2 days a week, that kind of stuff. And then like if anything was going on at school, he probably couldn't go. And now now we're going to meeting him for lunch, and now we're going to we did an after school it was like a reading thing that we came home with all of these like cool materials to work with JR and like improving reading and all that stuff that I would have had to go alone, and I probably wouldn't have gone because I don't want to go and drag a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old by myself.
A lot.
So like, so a lot of those things, it meant I didn't end up going either. And so trading the stability of that job that sure came with the 401k that they matched and all that stuff for this, where it's like, it's harder in different ways, but we're able to both be there with them. And like,
oh yeah, there's always going to be hards in life, right? Where it's just about choosing your heart.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important to understand your goals
Right.
and what that base amount is. What's your lowest amount that you need to get there, and feeling comfortable that if I'm there, I get to do all the things that I love. And at the end of the day, that's what's meaningful, because we have 2 costs in our life, right? We have money and we have time. And they're equally as valued to each other. I'd argue that time is probably more valuable.
Time is way more valuable because you can't buy that.
No, you can't.
You can't get it back. You can always get your money back.
Yes.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be conducive for me working with you two to set these super high revenue goals for you that you don't align with.
Right.
Because then that's going to take away from these other things that you want to do. And those are arguably way more important.
Right.
Especially to me. Like I come from a family business. I love working with family business owners. Like it's very meaningful to me when I get to connect with business owners and help them build a business that not only supports the life that they want to live, but also gives their children the opportunity to step up and work with them and have a business that sustains them moving forward as well. So that is why, like, we can talk about these 5 areas all that we want, but what's important is at the end of the day, we have that.
If JR wants to play soccer,
connection with our goals,
are you going to be able to be home to play soccer with him?
Yeah.
We all saw what happened to Jason.
That's true. Okay, soccer was maybe a bad example because
so help keep us home and subscribe to Patreon.
Yeah.
What?
No, that was a good transition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No. So yeah, like these are the considerations that people should, ask themselves in the area of their operating expenses, identify and cut expenses that are no longer working for you. I can't tell you, I'm so victim to this that I will sign up for a subscription. It might be like $3 or $4 a month. It's nothing crazy, but I'll stop using it and then I forget it's there. So I do that a lot. So making sure you're monitoring the subscriptions that you're using and the services that you're
Keep
using.
Patreon though. Don't
Yeah.
get rid of that
That's
one.
that's a good
Yes.
that's a good subscription.
Yeah.
We bring the value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saves
That
you money.
makes
Well, you know how we evaluate this,
Right.
right? We look at all of our spending and we give something a number of between 1 to 3 of 3 is super important to me. Like I need this. 2 is like, I can kind of do without this or maybe do better. Let's work on negotiating or innovating this. And our ones are just, this is not important. Let's get rid of it. I forgot I was using this. This does nothing for me and I can get rid of this. And what the important question to ask yourself here is, as long as this does not reduce the value of the product that you are creating.
Right.
So that's what you should really be focusing on there. The next area would be in your labor productivity. If you're working with employees, are those employees bringing in the revenues that justify their employment, or are they helping you reduce expenses that are justifying their employment? Or not even reducing your expenses, but reducing your time that you have to spend on things, and you can get that back and bring more in sales, or put your CEO functions to better use than something maybe an employee can be taking care of for you. So making sure your labor productivity margins are justified.
We should look, and maybe it's even like teaching your mom, but like there's a lot of like tedious things that I have to do or that we have to do that, although we may struggle in like,
you have to give up control.
I know. And so that's where like she helped me once. I put stickers, like my branding stickers, on my little like clear baggies of like the thingies, and I had her once help me, and they were all over the place. They were like, I put them like dead center, and she put them like bottom left and top right, and like all
they're unique.
Over right.
It's kind of like the DVD thing. You line them all up, they go
You got to collect them all. Got to collect the one at the top left.
And then you flip them, and then you see it go do.
So, but like, either working with her, because she is very open and she is a people pleaser, and that, there are probably some ways that I can make it easier for her. Like I can dumb it down to the point where I literally give her a template of like, she puts the baggie on the piece of paper and puts the sticker exactly where the sticker is. And like, is it going to be like 100% perfect? And is it going to be exactly the way I would have done it? No, but is the person who buys this keychain thing, he's going to notice that it's 10% higher, 10% lower? They don't care.
I was also going to say, consider how much people might care about those things, because they don't. And what you want to consider when you're making hires like that is the time that I'm going to get back worth the investment in this person? So if you're gonna, I'll use a round number, if you're gonna hire someone that you can pay $25,000 a year, is that going to free up time for you to bring in more than that in some way? And that's what you want to think about that when it comes to your labor productivity, and evaluate. I am a huge proponent of evaluating your employees at all times, evaluating your monthly spend, and kind of what it is that employee is doing to bring value to your company. And what that will help you do is, like you said, identify areas where maybe you just need to help them. Maybe you just need to give them a template and it's super easy, or maybe this employee is not a good fit for you. So very important to think about that there. And then also just your overall cash flow and your operations. Is the revenue that you're bringing in each day, each week, each month, sustaining your operations? Do you have to make tweaks in how you spend or do things to support your operations? So a tactic I like to recommend to people is talk to and if you have like creditors, or you have vendors, ask them if you can change the due dates on what you're paying for to things that may work better for you. Say, I'd love to pay you every 2 weeks. Can we get on an every 2 week payment schedule? And that way I know I'm hitting this amount to you biweekly. Or if it's someone who you purchase in bulk from, like if I purchase this much, can we do a discount? So finding those little ways to negotiate.
They don't necessarily share that, because then that's less money for them. But like, so okay, let me go back here. That was real bright. I see 16 stars now. So one vendor I had, I didn't necessarily, I had just ordered, so I didn't really need a ton, but I was not only taking advantage of the Black Friday and Cyber Monday stuff for like, personal, it was also like, this is materials and stuff that I need anyway. Let me get that 15% off, that 10% off, that 20% off.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to buy it anyway. I might as well get it at the 15% off.
And then you're saving that
And-
cost in the future. So
Right.
you're not going to be putting that outflow out again.
Yeah.
So what
And-
you want to
yeah.
make sure you just do in that point is ensure you're mindful of that,
Mhm.
and you're not then just automatically spending those savings right
Right,
away on
right.
something else. So like kind
Yeah.
of understanding what the opportunity earnings and costs are
Yeah.
in that sense of, okay, I'm saving this much
Right.
money, which means over the next 6 months, I won't have to purchase from this vendor for another
Right.
6 months now because I
Right.
did this.
Right.
What am I for not having to spend now maybe this little chunk that I would have spent?
Mhm.
What am I gaining from this?
Right.
And finding a way to make that work more
Yeah.
for you.
Well, and then, so one vendor reached out to me because she knows I'm a regular purchaser and was like, hey, this is the deal for Black Friday. The other two didn't reach out to me at all. And I actually reached out to them and asked them if they had
Always ask.
any discounts. And it was like, oh yeah, we're running 10%. And it's like, oh, if I would have ordered during this time anyway, who knows if they would have offered up that information
Always
or
ask.
not,
Yeah, 'cause
so
the
it
worst they
doesn't hurt,
can-
like say no.
The worst they can say is no. Exactly.
Right.
It's, the worst they can say is no, and you're just you're in the same predictable
You were
position you've
already
been
in,
in. Nothing's
right.
changing.
Yep.
So I always tell people to ask how the vendor can do better for you. If it's
Mhm.
someone you've been with for a long time,
Right.
ask for some sort of loyalty discount.
Right.
We just did that with AT&T. It worked.
Uh-huh.
So you just have to ask. There's two types
Yeah.
of people in this world. There's askers and assumers. So the askers typically get what they want. The assumers will get what they want half the time because
Right.
they'll just, it's
Yep.
based on their assumption of the
Mhm.
situation or
Totally.
not. So I always encourage people to be askers, and just with this methodology we were just speaking about, profit first. It helps you really understand that once everything is allocated out for the purpose of taxes, for the purpose of profit, for the
Mhm.
purpose of paying you, what is left is what is left to run the business.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Right.
And if that gives you now the space to ask yourself the following questions of, is this enough?
Mhm.
If it's not enough, what do I have to do?
Mhm.
And if it is enough, am I putting it to the best use for my business? Am I investing in the proper things? Am I maybe maybe not evolving where I should maybe be evolving? So
Right.
always keep a pulse of what's happening in your business, but also be curious about what's happening in competitors in your industry too. Like kind
Right.
of always stay on top of maybe methodologies that they're using, new products that they're using, because you'll never know when something new might come out that
Right.
supports you. So I'm in my industry, it's a pretty saturated industry of accountants and CPAs and tax
Right.
preparers. And we get like kind of a bad rap for being very like closed off to each other, not very friendly. I don't subscribe to that at all. And I see
Right.
everybody in my industry as someone with something to offer and something I can learn from,
Right.
and someone who can maybe help me in the future when I
Yeah.
don't know
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I never feel shameful about approaching somebody to ask a question or ask for help. And I always encourage people to do that in their own industries, of getting to
Yes.
know what's going on in the industry, because you will be surprised how many people will be just willing to help you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think everybody is more inclined to be helpful than competitive. And
Yes.
especially in today's today's
Yes.
age, it's so much better when you're helping each other.
Yeah, we realize that when we help others grow, we all do better. When
Yep.
we all
Rising
teach,
tides lift all ships,
exactly.
baby.
When we
Mhm.
all teach each other how to price better and price enough for our time, we all get more money and we all
Absolutely.
get more sales, and we raise the value of our product and our service.
Yep.
And so it just, we talked about the community over competition and how like there's so many with the laser world. You can know 20 laser owners and none of you do the same thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
even
Exactly.
if you do, oh really?
Yep.
Alright.
Time to pick up the
Even
kids.
if even if you all do the same thing, you may not do it in the same way, or you may be in different spaces or have a different market or customer. And there's ways to share the knowledge without like it being a detrimental thing, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
when I
ask
just
people what they're doing.
one I just
it's
posted
very, very valuable.
that I did was an ornament, and it was an adorable wood like letter to Santa ornament. And if you know me, you know that I don't really work with wood anymore. She has a fancy new UV printer, and she was able to like actually like UV print some stuff on there, which I would have had to like, you know, color in or whatever. Like, sure, I could have made something similar myself, but that would have taken me the time,
Mhm.
the materials. I probably would have never got around to it. So it means that it wouldn't have happened. And with this, it was okay. I can order 2 of them from her. I can support my friend, and we actually get the item. I didn't have to make anything. And then, you know, it's like this, you know,
That's a great story.
symbiotic. It just,
That's
it
a great
works,
story
you know?
to tell people. Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
astute of you to know that, because if you were somebody with the mindset of, oh, I only want to help this person and I want to get the credit and I want to put this
Mhm.
into it, you probably would have outpriced yourself. You would have
Right.
done that work
Yep.
for the price that the person who's really good at it would have done it,
Mhm.
and you would have been out in
Right.
your labor.
Well,
and your
because they've done all
materials.
that work for me.
Right.
They did all the tweaking.
You
She
didn't
did
do
all
anything.
no, she did.
You just made the referral.
Right. She knows this is how much I need to charge to make it worth it. This is how I get my products the cheaper. This is, you know, like she figured all of that out for me. So okay, here's $20 for, you know, $20 each ornament, and send it my way. And I'm so willing to hire out and to do certain things like lawn, and even we've done laundry a couple times, because like the laundry was like we either weren't doing it, and then now we're making up 2 and 3 weeks of laundry.
Yep.
And
Wash and fold.
he found a wash and fold, and it was like $20 or $30, and it was done and folded. And it was like, oh, okay, that
Giving
$20,
that time back.
$30 was
Yeah.
he didn't have to waste doing it, and it was done for him. And that $20, you know, like it's worth the product that you get. But yeah, I highly recommend finding friends within your industry, because you can both grow more, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's
and
okay.
you have the good information to make those decisions when you're staying on top of these 5 areas that we're just talking about, right?
Mhm.
Like you'll know your production capacity, you'll know what you need to price for what you and for
Right.
how many hours you need to spend.
Yeah.
And when those opportunities come across your desk, you'll easily be able to identify
Right.
what's for you and what's not for you. And
Yep.
it saves you so much time
Yeah.
and it saves you so much stress. So just if you're listening to this and you just find yourself feeling any kind of confusion, lost, shame about your financials, and really understanding you're not alone, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yep.
And the answer to fixing those problems is through them. It's always finding your way through the obstacle. It's always going through the obstacle.
Right.
And how you can demystify that fear and that shame is by just looking into it and knowing what questions you need to ask.
Right.
And then, which we've asked them all in this podcast. So you have the
Right.
questions now, and getting the answers to them and figuring out the areas where you have the most no's in, figuring out the areas where you feel the most weaknesses in. And even if that's all of them, getting curious about that instead of shame, because you're already where you are.
Right.
You're already living your worst case scenario of, I don't know what's going on and I don't know what trajectory I'm on. The only way is up. The only way is improving how you feel about it and improving your confidence. So if you're not working with somebody who helps you understand this, find someone. And if you are working with somebody who maybe doesn't make you feel great, doesn't really answer your questions, you don't feel like is available, find someone who aligns more with your needs, because there are so many accounting professionals out there in different areas. And the one with the most credentials or the most clients or the biggest firm may not be the best fit for you.
Right.
So really finding out who that is. And
even within the same business, like there was nothing wrong with the way your mom was helping me, but then we realized with what my goals were and with what kind of help I needed, I actually fit more with you rather than with her. And it just, just even look within the same company. If if there's someone else that just matches
Exactly.
personalities or matches just
Yeah.
energies or anything like that, and even that can make a huge change.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
take these questions that you may find yourself with from this podcast
Yeah.
and taking it to them and
Right.
saying, what are services that you offer that
Mhm.
can help me with my confidence in these
Right.
areas? And if they don't give you an answer that makes you feel good about that, find somebody who does, because you can do it. It is just like you said, that was the first thing you outsourced.
Mhm.
It is the most valuable investment that you can make in your business, is having somebody who serves as an accountability partner to
Mhm.
you, serves as a translator for you to really make meaningful assertions from the data that you see, and
Mhm.
helping you put it to place and monitoring it for you and cheering you on,
Yeah.
because that's super important. I always like to
Right.
start with the wins. I always like to start with what I'm proud
Yes,
of,
for
and
sure.
that serves as momentum to push you forward. And right when we were done with the meeting that we had, you had new goals right away
Right,
for
yeah.
us to work on.
I had no idea
Always.
what I even really wanted to focus on or do, and it was like, oh, okay, well, good, this year didn't completely suck, and now I also know what things I want to focus on and improve for next year.
Yeah.
So,
And I know we really just started doing this heavy in the last quarter.
Yeah.
So just think about where we'll be next year too.
Oh yeah, I can only
So,
imagine.
yeah, I'll be back.
Right.
Yes.
So she can tell you.
Yeah.
Answer more questions.
Right.
Well, Katie, it's been great having you on. Where can people find you, and what area do you service?
So we work in Coral Springs, Florida, but we are a remote firm. So we work with people all over the country. My niche that I really love to work with is service-based family-owned businesses. I really love to talk to people who, have goals of creating a lasting legacy for their children, and even having their children come to work with them.
Yeah.
You can find us. Our website is www.thegallogroup.net. And then I'm also on Instagram. It's Katie, Katie, Gallo, Gallo _group. And you can follow me there. I'm always posting helpful things.
Yes.
And I'm going to get
love
more into it in 2024.
With the help of somebody.
Absolutely. And that's where you can find me. And I'm very open to speaking to people, helping. I got a lot of really good contacts from the last episode that we did together that I was able to end up helping, and have stayed in touch with me. So
That's awesome.
if you're
That's
out
great.
there and you want even just someone to listen to your problems and give you some guidance, I'm here. So I'm not that accountant that will bill you for every minute you're talking to me, or won't even talk to you or answer the phone.
Right.
Yeah. So I would love to help anybody out there who's this resonated with at all.
Yeah.
And I will say, it seems a lot scarier to you than it really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not that scary when
No.
when you talk about it.
No, it's just demystifying our fears.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This might have to be a
Absolutely.
two-parter.
No,
Maybe.
or
We'll
we
see.
just up our time on the host.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how we do it. But either way, it's been fun.
Yes.
Always sun's
super-
working against us on this
I
episode.
know, right? We're all
right, just
Moving
moving
back.
back. So
vampires.
if I can't fix it in post, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try my best, but
Right.
who knows what we can do.
Yeah.
But it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
And Katie.
And
Katie.
Bye, guys.
Maybe we're all done.